I'll explain my dissenting frame going on in the garbage we call politics as we approach ecocide in the event that anybody becomes interested. Um, if we were dealing with truth and reality, one truth and reality wouldn't be incompatible with another truth and reality. I don't mean this in terms of the relative truth of dialectical struggles when Donald Trump tosses a breadcrumb to um, a swarm of birds. I'm talking about specifics pertaining to how much does water weigh and how much does bread cost. Specific issues of reality. Um, for example, I don't think there's anything wrong with the United Nations contributing to the development of fresh water supplies for the world's poor so children don't get sick. I have never thought so. In fact, when I was at the Pent News in the 80s, I was attacked because I didn't think so. I made every effort to discuss openly and with confidence issues like the Hunger Project and Buckminster Fuller with campus Republicans, only to be shut down. I took seriously the fright being mongered about the Soviet Union and tried to accord rational dimensions to measurement of its grounds, in keeping with my father's political philosophy that the best way to understand one another is to learn the facts. And I didn't hold forth that Reagan's dementia promoting mercenary activities in places like Central America was worthy of American leadership, having come from a more diplomatic school of thought. Anyway, I became increasingly aware that violent denial was shrieking from every chamber that my deafness was unnatural. A person can read the evidence describing gleefully and laughing about how I was kidnapped and tortured, which I described as a Manson ordeal. One can see the neuroplastic implant, and this is disallowed. The United Nations has bullies who say it's not true. Midori Goto was a peace ambassador who came to my campus marketing prostitution for the Catholic underworld of the city of Pittsburgh and the NAACP, who took out their jollies, not paying me in flesh, but making genocide pornography of me because the white is worthless, because the non Catholic is worthless, because he wasn't really tortured as a child, said the English, while they manufacture genocide pornography of me. It's no accident that they poisoned me with something that gave me Parkinson's. It's no accident that they threatened me in writing from the pen of a white racist, claiming he represented the NAACP and the Jewish Defense League with injection of HIV. It's no accident that they lied and pretended that wasn't true and banned me from school in Seattle for 10 years. All of these poachers, All of these criminals and all of these liars were caught red-handed stealing rare books from the Carnegie and selling them to places like the Palace and Donald Trump. This is a criminally insane adventure. And the black status quo is to deny that the white was implanted with a neuroplasm, tortured, and used for genocide pornography. It's all in the script. You can read it yourself. What's with the laws? How are we supposed to accept their claim that it's favoritism to acknowledge the truth about somebody's misfortune? How are we supposed to credit such a claim? It's ridiculous. So instead, they say, well, you're not crediting our claims. And UW Dialectical starts biological theory from places that we have tried to assist. They say, I represent the hypocrisy that doesn't assist enough. In other words, by telling the truth about how I was tortured and how they got their jollies off on how I was tortured, I'm special pleading. It's absurd. I didn't invent the nation state's national boundaries. This is a poach on the ideas that have been developed by Congress. They're trying to make me an exception, as though the people who are the most extreme right wingers aren't going to point to it and say, see, if you try to help black people, they will only turn on you. When I was young and had energy and commitment to these kinds of ideas, I was forced to take 2 dishwashing jobs because the union was using me for something and refused to teach me sign language. As the girl who taught me sign language against the union was treacherously raped. In fact, the Kennedys had murders against them when trying to help me and encourage me. This is Pocherama, Seattle, Washington. The people in Seattle had no right, no grounds to poison me in the mouth, to make pornography of me, to exploit me with Hop Kendricks from Pittsburgh. They had no right to torture me, rape my friends, murder my friends, threaten my family. They had no right to do it. They did it anyway. They did it in cold blood. They encrypted their threats against my family in the murder of Shannon Harps, another innocent person, another innocent bystander, murdered by a white man. How do you explain the thinking behind this incredibly insane catastrophe they call the University of Washington? It's an incredibly insane catastrophe. Every aspect of it is deranged. There's nothing redeeming about the Seattle Green Party. Absolutely nothing can be gained by trying to help them, by trying to ameliorate or mitigate their criminal insanity. Nothing can be done to help them. They're psychotic. They're over the top. They're across the board. They're helping millionaire Chinese Americans from Star Trek, is basically the idea behind it, promoting symbols of their madness. It's Hollywood at its very, very worst. And they run around on the streets with guns and put crypto symbols in cyber stalking that they will bang you, they will shoot you, they will summon hitmen. And they box me into these absurd political quandaries, threatening to kill me over a penny that I rightfully earned with years and years of hard labor, combating their stonewall of absolute lies. And they call this progressive thinking. And it serves and feeds right into the right wing's hilarious ideas of stereotyping the left. And they can't even conceive of it as anything else because they're driven to tear holes in the carpet over pimpery that they manufactured with entrapment to promote their cold-blooded laws. Tell me, how is it helping museum thieves rip off the museum for millions of dollars to pad the wallets of a few black taxi cab drivers in the city of Pittsburgh? How is it helping Africa to do that? It's helping Africa because it's promoting Temple University's Columbia School of Thought and selling books for a couple of extremists who've seen the suffering of Africa. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong with UNESCO efforts. There's something wrong with poaching innocent people. You can't even see that. You're so obsessed with thinking, oh, that's a white sacrifice for the academic school of great highness that has achieved Gramsci position at Temple University. If we let the one white go, they'll tear our supply of Persian carpets for the jaws of our Rottweilers. We must have Persian carpets to tear it. That's the mindset. It comes from Tony Levin, it comes from Peter Gabriel, it comes from Robert Fripp, it comes from this swarm of doofbag British progressive rock stars. And they call it black psychology. Black psychology? How is Frank Herbert's Soul Catcher black psychology? It's white manipulation at its worst. It's black psychology to have a white ripper murder a white woman. Oh, is it? Oh, I have an idea for you. Tell Seattle Psychiatry because they might be able to upgrade that into actionable offenses against innocent bystanders. Wouldn't that be neat? They have Duquesne Smugness advocating for the husbands of attack prostitutes who you have wronged by testifying against Queerwall. This is all Seattle's gibberish. It has nothing to do with helping anybody. How can anybody think for a minute that they're trying to help anybody? They're criminally insane, and you can't even see that.